What up, everybody? Welcome to SWAT MMA. We are back with episode number 177. Today, we're going to be smoking and talking about UFC 299, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera 2. We're going to be talking about Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. We're going to be recapping some Bellator PFL action we watched. Let's get into it, Paul, with the weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, so this week we have some lemon essence. This is made by Firestar.
Yeah.
This one's coming in at a 30.9 THC. It's a hybrid, and yeah, it's pretty fucking fire.
Can't get a lot of strain genetic information on there, but
Yeah, it seems like it's a
newer,
newer strain.
Terps are really high. Flavor's good. Firestar, I've smoked a bit of their weed here across Vegas, and dude, I got this at Nevada made for only $25 an eighth.
That's not bad at all. It's pretty much like, and we talked about this more like back when legalization was first coming around, that like these dispensaries and a lot of these places were gonna get, a lot cheaper over time, and I feel like we're finally getting there where things are like kind of where street prices were before legalization.
Bro, absolutely. And man, there is absolutely no reason when you look at the details on this weed and you smoke it, there is no reason why you should pay any more than this for weed. Like,
Yeah.
this same store has got eights by like Polaris for $55.
Yeah, no thanks.
That weed is not $30 worth more, $30 more than this weed.
No fucking way.
Absolutely. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely impossible.
And I do think you kind of see some of these like the original I'd say like 5 dispensaries are the ones that are like trying to hold on to those prices,
Yeah.
but a lot of like the newer ones that are popping up have kind of, tried to change at least the average price in the market, I'd say.
Bro, I bought this other brand a couple weeks ago called Hustler's Ambition. I never seen them before. I just tried it. It was 20 and eighth. The shit was fine, dude.
Yeah.
Tasted good. It was like 22% THC. It was cured right. Fucking buds were great, bro. No reason to fucking come out here to visit Vegas and sit here and pay $55, $50 for an eighth before tax. You're walking out of there paying $65, $70 for fucking an eighth of weed. It's crazy. This with the tax was $30, man.
Well,
that's worth it all day.
That's another thing you'll see too, is like a lot of those dispensaries that are closer to the strip are the ones that are trying to hike the price up. All like the ones off Highland, like freaking Planet
absolutely.
13
and Reef, yeah.
And like a lot of those ones that are like kind of catering more to a lot of the tourists and stuff like that are the ones that are like still keeping their prices, but a lot of like your more local, kind of more in the neighborhood sides of Vegas are the ones that are actually coming correct.
Yeah, there's no reason to have a fancy fucking weed store. I mean, once you get past
it
the
looks
initial
cool.
fun thing, I mean, it looks cool, but it's like, why would you go to a liquor store that was super fancy and charged you more for the fanciness of the store versus if you can get the exact same liquor at the corner store for cheaper?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, after the initial fun of being 21, you're like, oh, I'm in the liquor store. Like, you get over that, oh, weed is legal. Ain't no reason to go spend that much money somewhere, man. There's just not. I
Well,
don't even
not
go
only
in the
that-
fucking store anymore, dude.
I think that's kind of the crowd they cater to, also, like
For sure.
more than the local scene, because it's like they kind of like what you just said, the whole weed is legal thing.
Yeah,
Like people,
I can't
or
believe they're in a
like,
store that sells weed. It's so crazy. And then you live
Yeah.
here. It's like, bro, I
It's
lived in Colorado before here, and it was legal. Then I moved here, and it's been like a fucking decade. It's like between the two, it's like I'm good. Dude. I'm cool. It's like routine.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. All right, so let's dive in. So
Dude, let's start off with the obvious. I want to say before we even talk about it, dude. 299 is a better card than UFC 300.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The fuck is wrong with the UFC?
I mean, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong per se, but I'll kind of talk
just
something
don't care.
I was talking to you about the other night. Is I just honestly feel that we have so many champions in this UFC that we have now that are just not as active as the ones we had before. Like a lot of people, at the end of his, title reign gave Izzy a lot of flack because all the shit he was doing and everything, and you could like him, love him, or anything in between. But one thing that the dude did was fight 3-4 times a year, 0 questions asked. Volkanovski no longer the champion. He was fighting a cool 3-4 times a year, no
Yeah,
questions asked.
yeah.
A lot of these guys that are now champions are just not willing, and Sean O'Malley being one of them as well, are just not willing to, I don't know, like fully commit themselves to the company, and I get why in some circumstances, but there's just like I don't know, there's just like this new mentality where like guys are like, as soon as they get to the title, now it's their turn to pick and choose when they want to fight,
Well, it's
who
because
they're
the
gonna
UFC
fight,
pays
what's
them so
gonna happen.
shitty on the fucking way up there. They become paranoid about losing it, paranoid about getting a new deal because they can't afford to go back to that shit before.
Yeah,
When the UFC is still putting these guys in the apex for fuck's
Aljamain
sake.
Sterling too. Aljamain Sterling used to fucking fight 3-4 times a year too.
Yeah.
Like they're just Usman like.
Now we
But
got the guys that don't do anything,
yeah,
or so it seems. But O'Malley is fighting this weekend. We got 299. He's headlining against Chito Vera too. The whole card, top to bottom, is fucking solid.
yeah, best card of the year for sure. Could turn out to be the best card of the last few years if it lives up to the possibility of what this whole card could be. You got at least what 10 of the fights on here are with guys who are ranked or on the verge of being in the top 10.
Well, let's pick out a few that stand out here for their implications in the divisions. Like, how about Curtis Blades versus Almeida at the heavyweight?
Yeah, so this one's kind of interesting because heavyweight is kind of in this weird spot where you're waiting for the Jones Stipe thing to go off or on, and then Aspinall is almost kind of like the sitting champion who is going to continue to defend his interim heavyweight championship until Jones and them get it all figured out. And this ultimately could be the next fight for him, where you got Blades, who he had that weird kind of
Yeah, I mean, he got fucked up fighting
injury.
Almeida, or not
Yeah,
Almeida. I'm sorry, Aspinall.
yeah.
His
Like,
fucking knee got fucked up. Aspinall
yeah.
gets the quick TKO victory,
No,
but
it's the
this is
other
not
way
really a
around.
loss. Or
Right.
Aspinall's
Yeah.
knee gets whatever.
Yeah. But like that was the only real like blemish on Aspinall's like rise up.
Yeah,
So
that's
now,
right. Blades lost to Pavlovich.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Blades kind of just been like that right now though. Blades, who was first in Ngannou, kind of knocked him out of it, and then Lewis put him to sleep, and then he puts a couple wins together. Now then he loses to Pavlovich, and it's just like that. Just kind of seems like it's the trend of his career going forward, and so I kind of do hope that Almeida pulls this out. To be honest.
Dude, Almeida's gonna fuck him up, dude. I guarantee you. Almeida's gonna come right out there and he's gonna light this fool up. I'm just feeling it. Curtis Blades' time is over. I just don't.
Almeida's kind of an interesting individual because he's a very undersized heavyweight, but his grappling is so high level and his jiu-jitsu is fucking ridiculous that anytime someone who maybe is like physically daunting, he just takes him down and is like, yeah, let's see how tall you are laying down, motherfucker. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's where I think Blades is gonna run into trouble. I think this is somebody that can handle the takedown attempts from Blades
Yeah.
and probably get some reversals and uses jiu-jitsu to get the victory here.
Yeah.
I'm not sensing a knockout win for Almeida, although it is possible. It's heavyweight.
It's possible.
But I really
Almeida,
think he's gonna get a reversal on the takedown, get better position, and he's gonna choke Blades out.
that's the
what I'm
thing though
saying.
that I feel like also with Blades is he's got good wrestling, but he's never had like great jujitsu or great.
No,
top
not at
game.
all.
Like,
And I like the dude, but I'm a little tired of seeing these same faces at heavyweight.
yeah,
Like, I'm sick of them all fighting each other. Enough.
yeah.
Let's move on. Sorry, Curtis.
And Almeida's freaking. He's a dog. He's undefeated. He's got 14 first round finishes.
You're undefeated in the UFC. He is 20-2 overall.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was gonna say he's won what 6 fights in the UFC so far, and he's just like that new breed, kind of what you're talking about. You know,
Mhm.
the fresh face that hopefully we get to see rise in the ranks.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm predicting a pretty quick victory for him. I'm thinking second round submission,
I could rock with
or
that too.
a submission to do a choke is what I'm leaning. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll
I-
see, and I think that's the best thing that could happen at heavyweight because we got to get some action going here while Jones is out, while Stipe is, while that fight's still marinating. It's not going anywhere. It's going to happen. Aspinall's accepted it. Everybody's on board. I have no problems with Aspinall defending that fucking interim belt in this
Yeah.
circumstance. Do it, whatever. Let's get him a
Interesting,
contender.
though.
Let's get that fight going.
Interesting kind of taking a step back here, but during that PFL card, Jones jumped on the mic, and it seems like some of Aspinall's shit talking might be working. Because now he's saying that he's gonna beat Aspinall's ass, he's gonna beat Stipe, and then he's gonna somehow, some way fight Francis.
I mean, it is what it is. John was also looking pretty rotund
I saw
at
that
that
too.
thing. Like
Yeah.
you could tell in his
But
little
he
Saudi
also
robe
got
get up, he was still fucking fat. Like
yeah,
even
but he
Francis
also
was like, "You're fat, homie."
he also got surgery though. So how much could he be really like working out? You know.
It's true.
Supposedly
true.
he got like 2 surgeries. The what was it, a pec injury or something like that?
Yeah.
But then I guess he had like a shoulder surgery also to get his shoulder repaired. So maybe he had some lingering issues, and hopefully we get that figured out soon though.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right,
I think
so
Curtis Blades is getting knocked out of that conversation while Almeida's going to step up here.
yeah, I agree.
Bouncing back down to some much smaller dudes, we got some 135 pounders coming in with Peter Yan and fucking Song Yadong going.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
That's a
banger.
banger right there.
Song Yadong's been one of those sleeper guys in the division. Like bantamweight is so fucking stacked. There's just so many guys that could really beat anybody on any day, and I feel like Song Yadong's one of those. Like he's pretty well rounded.
His only loss in his last 5 fights is to Corey Sandhagen, which is no
And it was a
shame
close
right there.
fight.
And
That
it
was a
close.
wild fight.
Whereas, let's be honest here, Peter Yan he's in a must-win situation here,
100%.
in my opinion. I mean, he has won exactly one of his last 5 fights, which was ironically a bit against Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's lost to Vashali, he's lost to O'Malley, he's lost to Sterling twice. And Sandhagen in between those two. It was the one victory.
And the Marab fight too, he just got completely shut down, like completely embarrassed by Marab, to the point where I don't know, like that, like, kind of like what you said. This is a must-win for him. Like if he doesn't come out here and put on not only a win but something, with a little bit of
He's make a
little
bit of a
extra on
statement
it.
here.
Yeah, like things aren't looking great for him.
The
in
problem
this
is
division.
Song Yadong's too tough for that statement. Song Yadong's going to beat him down.
Think so?
Yep.
That's a pretty good pick, I think. I think he's probably not betting wise the best underdog, but I think he like just stylistically and like just based on what we've seen in the past, I think that Song Yadong is probably the best underdog going into this weekend.
Yeah, and he's only a slight underdog at that. I mean, some of
Yeah.
the best odds you can get him at right now are plus 110, while we've got Peter Yan at around minus 120 to minus 130.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not like betting wise, I just mean like stylistically.
Yeah,
like,
stylistically,
he's probably the best
I'm
underdog.
feeling it.
Yeah.
I think Peter Yan is just the decline just came. Like people figured out how to beat him, and I think it's there. And I think Yadong's going to do it.
And it's kind of something that's happened at this division too. It's like when they've had these champions that have come in and been looked so dominant on their way to the belt, and when they get it, it's like this. Once they lose it, it's this like steady decline and disappearance. Like we saw that with Marlon Moraes, we saw that with Cejudo, we saw that with I guess Sterling, but he's moving to another weight class, so that's kind of one that's still pending. But there's just this and there's just this because I think it's such a tough division, and I think when you get up there, and you have to fight all these killers to get there.
Oh yeah.
And then once you get there and maybe win a couple, your body's just gone through so many wars that's kind of tough to just get up for all these fights after they no longer have that same significance that the title fights had.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Gilbert Burns facing Jack Della Maldonado, who's just on a fucking roll.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if there's someone that knows how to stop people on a roll, it is Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, Gilbert Burns come in and fuck you up, but I don't know, man. He's given up 10 years here in age.
It's now or never for Burns if he's going to do anything in this division. He's got to do something now.
Jack lands a lot of strikes per minute, man.
Yeah,
over
tough.
7. That is very tough.
You think did he get his nose fixed yet, or does it still look like shit?
I have no idea.
That dude's nose is fucking.
He's coming off that
rough.
win over Kevin Holland.
Yep.
He's on quite the streak. Gilbert Burns is another one that I just feel his time is also at an end. I feel like we're at a point in the UFC where we're about to see a lot of turnover as far as these older guys
Oh
because
yeah.
they're all right on that cusp.
I was
We've got a
looking at
lot
this
of these young
graphic.
guys coming up.
I was looking at this graphic of like all the guys that are 35 and above right
Yeah,
now,
man.
and it was like the all the people of like the whole, I'd say the 2015 to 20, what are we, 2024 now, like
Hmm.
era of the UFC is all coming to like there. It's kind of like, remember when those like Ultimate Fighter guys like all were like real big, like those like seasons 1 through 5 were real, like a lot of them turned out to be champions and great fighters and put on great fights, but then like
Yeah.
as it's just the sport, like as you see the one, generation of guys, it's kind of the end of that generation, yeah. um like Volk, Jones, Burns is in there,
Dude, Volk is done.
Ferguson. I don't think he's done either, but I'm just
No, I'm
saying.
saying he is
Oh,
done.
he is done.
Volkanovski's done. I
Oh
hate to say
no.
it, but he fucked up his career with that shit.
Yeah, he might have.
He fucked it up, man. He shouldn't have taken that second Makachev fight. He had no. You can say no to the UFC, you motherfuckers. You can say no. What
Yeah.
good did that do for him? Nothing. It diminished his first fucking fight,
Yeah.
and then he didn't take a big enough break before he fought Topira, and then got smoked again. Now you're
That
coming
kid
off
looks
back to
pretty
back
good too.
KOs like that. Those were nasty,
It's rough.
man.
Yeah.
Those were fucking nasty. And you're 36.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that time like these fucking heavyweights do.
No.
You don't have that little like, oh, he's 36, he's still gonna go 3 years. Like, nah,
Although
dude,
the only pushback I'll
you're
give you
fucking
on
done.
that is that Volkanovski is one of those guys who started MMA later in life,
True.
so he doesn't necessarily have exactly the same. But he does. I mean, two knockouts back to
Dude,
back.
would
is
he
just
get
not
knocked
good.
out if he hadn't taken that second Makachev fight?
That's a good
Let's say
question.
he just let's just say that never happens and he fights Superior again. Is it the same fucking fight?
That's a good question.
Because he was looking good right until all of a sudden he was asleep. I was like,
I
damn,
think
Volk looks great. Oh, Volk's asleep.
I think where he could answer that question would be him taking a year off. Like take the rest of this year off.
Ooh, come back at 37.
He's
Ooh,
got to,
damn,
bro.
damn,
Here's the
oh.
thing. The only reason I say that is you got to give your brain enough time to, you know, heal from trauma. Because that's
Yeah, no,
at
for
the end of
real.
the day, people don't realize that it's like they see these dominant champions get knocked out, and they're just like, oh, it's cool, just get right back in and do it again.
No,
That
man, that's trauma. And when
that's
you're older
trauma.
like that too, it's
Tough.
even worse. And he might have been new to MMA later in life, but he was playing rugby before at a professional level, and that's traumatic on your brain.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're getting
Yeah.
hit just as hard as football in a lot of cases out there, with
Mm-hmm.
a lot less fucking protective equipment on you.
And that's the thing too. So now you're going into this like whole next chapter of, I guess, the end of your career. How do you want to be seen in the end? How do you want to go out is what a lot of these guys. And I think another one that we're going to talk about in a second is like Dustin Poirier is kind of in that same place too, where it's like
Right.
you've been in these great title fights, you've been in these great scenarios, you've won some, lose some, but when you take some of these like real devastating knockouts, and there's a difference between getting like a flash TKO and getting flatlined. And when guys get flatlined, it's just hard to just look at Kamaru Usman, the same perfect example as well. It's like there's just sometimes when you get shut off like that, it's just so devastating for your not only psyche but just how you fight in general, because
Well, yeah.
you don't want that to happen again.
Look at Usman when he came back after Leon Edwards. I
Yeah.
feel that played into a part of it right there too in that second fight.
He was gun shy for sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Volk was a little gun shy in that fight too, for obviously the right reasons.
Well, but anyways, I think Gilbert Burns is right at that point too, where he's going to fall off. I think he's going to lose this fight to Jack Della Maldonado. I have a hard time with his last name. Madalena. I get tongue tied.
But yeah, I think Burns is durable, so I don't think he'll get knocked out. But I do think he probably
No,
loses.
he's going to lose a very very lopsided decision. He's going to get outstruck 6 ways from fucking Sunday in this fight.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what's happening in the next fight, which has a lot of fucking hype
Next fight,
behind it. I feel
yeah.
like Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. I mean,
The people's main event, in my opinion.
this is a fight right here, but I don't think it's the fight that a lot of people expect.
Mm-hmm. very interesting, I think. So Venom Page, he's got a lot of question marks coming into this fight. I would say because he's 21 and 2 in his career, and
Yeah.
Bellator and a little bit over in the UK, and he faced some real tough guys, and his two losses are not outside of that the KO that he took. Like proved he could come back after that, and that it wasn't something that was gonna
It was Delima, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
he lost a real close decision to Logan Storley. So like those fights aren't really like super.
He didn't get blown out the water
Yeah,
or quote unquote exposed or none of that shit.
yeah. So coming into this fight, you got to ask yourself like, is this one of the products that the UFC's brought in from Bellator that is going to show themselves to be ready and just was waiting in the wings, or is this something that Bellator was like, we don't really have much more for you, and he didn't really have much more for them either, and they kind of just parted ways, and the UFC saw him as a built commodity, and they decided to bring him in.
I don't know about any of that, but what I think I do have a pretty good feeling about is Michael Venom Page is going to come in here and absolutely destroy Kevin Holland.
You think so?
He can put that motherfucker down. And I love Kevin Holland, dude. Kevin's a good fighter. But there's a reason that Kevin Holland's average fight time is 11 minutes and MVP's average fight time is 2 minutes.
That's true.
And it's not all fighting cans in Bellator. That doesn't hold up for fucking 18 fights.
Yeah, he's had some big wins. But the only pushback I have on that also is when MVP has fought other strikers in the past, he's chose to wrestle them. Like when you watch like his fight with Paul Daly, where he knew Paul Daly had the the power to put him out, he chose to more or less try to grapple with him. And I feel like a lot of those like matchups where he's been against other high level strikers, he's just more willing to do some of that like grappling.
Well, here's the other two stats I think that are really going to play into effect right here. That is the strikes absorbed per minute. For Kevin Holland, it's a little over 3. You know what it is for MVP?
0.
0.45%. Less than half of
He's
a
got
strike
such a
per
weird
minute.
style.
And striking accuracy, 55% for Kevin Holland, 77% for MVP. And I think that these stats are going, I mean, stats don't tell the whole story of a fucking fight. It's not about statistics. But I think in this particular case for these two guys, their strength is striking.
Yeah.
We all know Kevin Holland don't want to wrestle you. I mean, he about retired after the Chimaev fight.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting to see how Kevin Holland wears MVP's punches. I think
Because he just got beat by Jack. We were talking about Jack Maldonado.
Yeah.
Like we were talking, he averages 7 strikes per minute. That's 3 more than MVP. MVP is only at 4.5 strikes per minute.
But I do think the curveball that MVP throws into all these guys is his style is unlike any other striker in the UFC. And the only one you could really maybe compare it to is Wonder Boy, and Wonder Boy whipped on Kevin Holland when they were on their feet. So it's just so interesting when you have like these karate point fighter guys because like kind of alluding to what you said before with that 2 minute average fight time, the way he fights is not uh, an average striker who sets up their jab and then finds what they're gonna find. He 90% of the fight is sitting there with his hands down, rocking back and forth, and looking for an opening.
He even did that in BKFC.
Yeah.
I mean, much to his detriment, actually, because that's a different sport. But kudos to him for trying this shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Fighting his fight.
And I don't really feel like that fight matters that much.
No,
on
I don't
this
think it has
record,
anything
to
to do
be
with
honest.
anything.
Like people, I feel like a lot of people have put stock into that loss,
Nah.
and I'm just like, his style's not made for bare knuckle. Like,
And he didn't try bare knuckle fighting style. Like if he was gonna stick with bare knuckle, I guarantee you he would change his style up because you can't win that way over there.
Yeah,
it's just different.
it's not
like
only
you don't have the
different, there's
openings
just,
with your feet and the takedowns and the other things that you're gonna have in MMA. You only got those hands, and you just can't do it that way.
Well, and I do think
And he
another
still
thing,
almost won.
another thing that is super underrated in MVP's game is his kicks are phenomenal.
Absolutely,
He has great kicks, and I think that it could be the X factor in this fight because I think Kevin Holland and him probably have very similar hands, like as far as like power, but I think the difference is that freaking MVP is so versatile in his like striking game. The only person I can probably ever compare him to in the UFC is probably Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Like he has a very similar game to Anderson, where he's gonna pick you apart on the feet, and then he's gonna make you not purposely look stupid, but he very easily could make you look stupid. Dude, speaking of MVP, remember when he fucking leg kicked that dude in the knee and fucking caved his knee in?
Yes.
That was the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, that was fucking horrible.
And then he caved in fucking homeboy's
Boy's
skull
head,
too.
Yeah.
Cyborg.
Cyborg's head, yeah. That was nasty, bro. No, he's gonna light Kevin Holland up. This ain't even gonna be this is gonna be maybe 2 rounds, maybe.
Damn.
That's what I think. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm on.
I think people are
I'm
giving
on some
Kevin
he gonna
Holland the
smoke
benefit of
him.
the doubt because he's the UFC guy going against the Bellator guy. You know what I mean? They're like, oh,
That's
he
what I
can't be
think it
that
is, too.
great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's MVP's not getting the shine because of Bellator and because of the Mike Perry loss.
Yeah, but I don't think
And
either
that
of
doesn't have
those
shit
matter.
to do with shit.
Yeah,
No, I don't have nothing to do with a damn thing.
neither of those matter at all.
He's gonna come out of there and people are gonna be talking about MVP.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like that's why I was saying earlier. I feel like this is like the people's main event. Although the main event is great, I'm saying like this is like probably gonna be like knockout of the night, fight of the night opportunity here.
Well, now we're getting up near the top of the card. You were mentioning him earlier, but we got Dustin Poirier making a comeback in a fight he initially was like, no, I'm not going to do. Then he changed his tune a couple of days later.
Yeah.
But that's Benoit Saint Denis, who seems to be the truth, man. His 13-1 record is legit.
I heard people calling him BSD now. That's what I'll call him. That's way easier than saying his real name.
Yeah, that's true.
Benoit Saint Denis. Jesus.
But we do have, we got fucking Poirier. He's getting older. He's lost 2 of his last 3.
In his last fight, he got fucking shadow realmed by Gaethje.
I think he's got a tough road ahead of him in this fight. And I'm not too mad about that. I like Dustin Poirier, but like we were talking about changes at heavyweight, lightweight's in dire need of new blood. Like, we cannot keep giving title shots to Justin Gaethje, fucking
even Connor.
Like
Poirier,
fucking Dustin Poirier, fucking Michael Chandler. Can we stop? Can we just...
That's why I feel like there's a couple guys. There's a couple guys in there right now.
And Charles Oliveira.
Even Oliveira, I don't really have a ton of like.
Like, God bless them all. I'm just tired of seeing them all. It's just them. Like, can we get somebody fucking new?
I think Benoit is going to be the new one. He's a tough motherfucker.
Yeah, I think he's going to come in and win this fight too.
I was looking at it just to see how long it's been.
Names.
But July of last year too, it'll be so about 6 months since he got shadow roamed like that.
He getting up there. I'm just not feeling it. I like Dustin, but I feel like he's at the same point I was saying about Dustin or Gilbert Burns. And a lot of these guys, he's another guy that's right there that we were just talking about this on that precipice, facing a fucking young murderer coming up the fucking ranks.
But
and he's coming off getting just like you said.
I'll give Poirier credit though. In the last couple years, he's had a couple fights like this where we've been like, okay, he's done. This is the end of his run, and then he has like the best fucking performance of his career.
Yeah, it's true.
This could also be that. You can't count him out. His hands are fucking lethal when he's on point. When Dustin Poirier shows up and he's landing and he's like gets in that flow state that he gets in sometimes.
Yeah,
like
his striking's great.
The dude's fucking
his hands are real nice.
So I don't know. I agree. I kind of want that new blood in the division, but I'm not quite ready to count Poirier out, to be honest.
I mean, the only person he's beat, not named McGregor, in quite some time is Chandler. And that was
I thought he beat the shit out of Chandler.
Yeah, that was an ass whooping, I was going to say.
Okay, I thought you said that was a close fight. I was like, I didn't beat the fuck out of Chandler. Yeah, and I mean, and right before the McGregor fight, the Hooker fight was kind of what I was alluding to before. Because remember, going into that Hooker fight, everyone was like, why'd you take this fight? This guy's way ranked below you and all this shit. He's washed, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
and then he beat the fuck out of Hooker.
Well, you picking Poirier on that shit?
I'm kind of going back and forth. Is it 5 rounds?
No. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, Dustin Poirier is
I
a
don't know,
plus
'cause-
170 underdog. I know that's probably one of the better bets on the fucking card, honestly. If you're looking for an underdog
Wait,
to
how
bet
much?
on, plus 170.
Oh,
I mean, that's the highest you can get across. You know, we're looking at like 5 or 6 different ones, but that's on DraftKings right now. Benoit Saint Denis is minus 205.
he's got a cool nickname too, God of War. That's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just like a crazy step up in competition, though. If you look at fucking Saint Denis' record,
Yeah, well, it's
bro.
got to happen at
He
some
goes
time.
from Thiago Moises, Matt Frivola to Dustin Poirier. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
like-
well,
He looked great in the Matt Frivola fight. Don't get me wrong, but this motherfuckers, they're feeding him.
I
to
want
the
him to
sharks.
win. I like Dustin, but for the same reason, I'm tired of these old heads in here, fucking the same names. I don't want to see Dustin fight for another title. I'm sorry, Poirier fans.
Yeah.
I need just new shit. We need new shit. UFC's stale as fuck, man. God
Well,
damn,
shit.
the UFC is stale.
You got Holloway moving to 55 now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be talking about that one as that gets closer, but I don't know. At least he looks a little more solid.
Dude, he looks jacked. What the fuck?
That's what
Is
he
he on
should
the
have done
juice?
before when Poirier beat his ass. He was too small.
Fucking Max is juicing up, bro. No, I'm
Right.
just kidding. He does look huge though. But that's the thing is like I don't know. Even if Saint Denis comes out in this fight and puts on like a great performance against Poirier, it's still gonna take like a one or two more fights before they give him Islam.
Yeah. Islam, dude, he ain't never getting there. Islam fights once a fucking year, twice if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see him fight Gaethje again. Like, okay, cool. I mean,
Well, you never fought
Gaethje. Well, I know I said again just because I had my Nurmagomedov. It was just like,
I
what's
think
the
Gaethje
difference,
beats
dude?
him though.
I don't know. I remember all the talk how Gaethje was the guy to beat Nurmagomedov too, because that magic wrestling that we used to hear so much about.
Yeah.
Fucking Gaethje's wrestling is just like Nate Diaz's boxing, bro. It's fucking wolf tickets, dude. Like, I don't
Yeah.
believe it anymore. Like, bullshit. Those are gym stories, dude. I know you got accolades. At least Gaethje has accolades, you know,
Yeah.
whereas Diaz was just talking out his goddamn ass for all these years. As much as I fucking love that dude, we got to keep it real. You can't
Yeah.
box, bro. But Gaethje, we never see him wrestle. Ever, never, ever. How's he going to fuck with Islam Makhachev? I don't know. We'll see.
I think Islam is a lot more willing to stand and throw than Khabib ever was.
Yeah. But we'll see. He got his hands full with Max Holloway's suddenly bigger ass.
Dude, I know
We'll
that's
see.
gonna be. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about that probably. What's that? 2-3 weeks
Yeah,
from now.
yeah.
But that's a really interesting fight to me. So let's talk about the main. Or so
Yeah, we
you
got the
have-
main event. We
You
got,
got Benoit. I guess I'll take Poirier. I think the only way Poirier wins though is by decision. I don't think he finishes it.
no, probably not.
But yeah, so the main event, the rematch. We got Sean O'Malley taking on Chito Vera.
Chito's one of the biggest underdogs. I mean, DraftKings got him plus 225. I mean,
I'd take
shit,
that.
I would take that all day. Well, that's because I think he's going to win, too. I think he's got a solid path to victory here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to watch out for the straight punches of Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's got a marvelous straight game. Like his 1-2. And Vera tends to throw looping punches. And I'm always one to say fighters should throw straight punches, especially with all these guys always throwing all the hooks and everything. But Vera's got that nasty little teep kick right
I was
to the
just gonna
gut.
say that. I
with-
think the biggest thing, the difference in the two like guys here is I think Sean is more like accurate finesse, and like Chito likes to make it a little dirty. He likes get in the clinch, throw strikes.
And once
fucking-
Chito made the decision that he wasn't going to get bullied around anymore and he was going to be a fucking pressure fighter, period.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really-
dangerous against Sean though too.
It is, but I think he's the guy that can do it. He was in there before. I think he's got that. Even though it was a short 1 round, with the
Yeah.
injury and all. I haven't seen the dog in O'Malley yet. Okay, we've seen the dog in Chito,
That's true.
and that's kind of where I'm just leaning.
Yeah, I don't think the only way I think that if Sean would finish Cheeto is in like a one like some like walk off kind of KO where like he just hits him something
Well, if
perfect.
he were to KO Marlon Vera, I'd be really impressed.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Like
I
yeah,
mean, I like Sean
I've
O'Malley.
seen
I'm not
Vera
gonna be
take
mad
some
if he
shit.
wins, but
But the fucking if Corey Sandhagen couldn't finish fucking
yeah,
Cheeto in that fight, I don't know if Sean can. Like the dude's a dog, and I do think it's a war of attrition also because I don't really know. I, I I don't really know. Like I guess in the Yan fight we saw O'Malley tested, but we really haven't seen O'Malley get tested into like a long 5 round fight. Like he was in a 3 round fight with Pedro and he looked good. Or not Pedro. I'm sorry, Peter Yan, but he looked good in that fight, but that was 3 rounds. So now you're in a 5 round scenario. And I think Chito Vera, one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is he's a real slow starter. He starts slow as fuck. Like first, second round, he like at
he
least in the
feels you
five
out.
round fights
Yeah,
he's had because that's the real difference I think in this fight too is whereas Sean is literally had one 5 round fight that went 1 round, whereas like Cheeto's main evented a lot of these fight night cards and been in these 5 round wars when they weren't title fights. And I think that could really be maybe a strength for him that if he's able to, dig deep and drive fucking O'Malley into those fourth and fifth rounds with a lot of like pressure that he, just steadily keeps on him.
hmm
I'd be very curious to see what it looks like, whether he'd fold or he'd be up to the occasion.
yeah. We haven't really seen Sean tested that much yet. I mean, if you look at his record, it's just not. It's just not there. I mean, his win against Sterling was really impressive.
Oh yeah,
Then he was that super close fight against Peter Yan.
yeah.
He had the no contest against Munoz, which was a close round. That shit was close. Like
Yeah, it was one of those fights. You
it's
know
hard
what?
to tell. It was one round. There's nothing
Yeah,
really
it
to
was
beat
like
off
when
of. But I
Leon
mean,
fought fucking Bilal Muhammad. It was like oh a little quick stoppage that wasn't a stoppage and just ends up in a no contest.
but then look at the 2 wins before that. Paiva, who's that?
Yeah,
Matinho, who? I mean,
yeah, it's
then we
true.
bounce over here and we look at the last few fights for Chito Vera. I mean, yeah, he's got the loss to Sandhagen. Before that, he's on quite a streak. He wins over Edgar, win over Font, win over Cruz. Then he
And
got
the
the win over
Edgar and
Munoz.
Cruz finishes were fucking
And I just
ridiculous.
felt he had an off night against Corey Sandhagen. It happens, especially when you're on a streak like that. Sometimes
Yeah,
you just fucking can't keep the streak up, man, and you just
yeah.
got to get that loss out, and then you're right back where you were before. And I feel like that's what's up with him. I'm feeling Cheeto this weekend, man.
Although I'll say this, I wasn't super impressed with his fight against Munoz. I was really impressed with the Cruz font and Frankie Edgar
Yeah,
wins.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But that Pedro Munoz fight, he did look a bit like safe, and that could have been just because he knew he had to win that fight. But I'm real curious to see how this fight goes.
I
I
don't
don't
think
really
he's going to
know.
play it safe at all on this one. And I think as long as he is takes calculated risks, and he's careful with the pressure, gets good utilization of the teep kick, and then with his
It's all about
jiu-jitsu,
range with Sean too.
I think he's going to fucking weather the storm and get the victory here. Chito Vera
When in what fashion?
decision.
Damn, you think Chito Vera could win a decision against Sean?
Yeah, I do.
See, I think that'd be the last thing he wins by. I think he wins probably by either one of these guys probably wins by a finish because I think
I mean, I feel it. I see that's the logical choice. I hear it, but I'm just feeling it. I don't know. Feelings are. I'm not putting my money on it.
the
So
only
there's that.
thing I have, the only thing I would say in contrary to Cheeto possibly winning a decision is kind of what I was talking about before. I just feel like he starts slow, and if you start slow against someone like O'Malley, he's gonna try to empty the tank on you and get you out of there. And if Cheeto survives that storm, takes Sean to the deep water, I think he finishes him in the fourth.
Sean better hope that doesn't happen.
I think that's what happens. TKO fourth round.
So we're both feeling Cheeto this weekend.
Yeah, I'm taking Cheeto.
All right, word.
All right,
Let's
so
move to the other big ass fight.
yeah.
And
So
literally,
the cool thing about this
big-ass
weekend is
fight.
we get we get the Friday boxing and the Saturday MMA, so everybody's happy.
Francis Ngannou, round 2, part 2. dance number 2, whatever you want to call it, dude is playing with the house money on this one.
Hold on, you said his name wrong. You mean number 10 heavyweight in the world by the WBC, Francis Ngannou.
Right. Fighting for a title shot with a victory here against the winner of Usyk and fucking Fury.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he actually gets that, though.
Well, first he'd have to get through Anthony Joshua, which is no easy task, but
Yeah.
I feel that the Francis Ngannou that we saw in the fight against Tyson Fury can only be improved upon in the fight against Anthony Joshua. I don't think he goes backwards from there. I think he's got those first fight jitters out. I think he's got the confidence that he knows he can hang with these guys. And I think we're in for another shocking performance by Ngannou. I don't know if he can get a win, but if he loses, I feel it's going to be another razor thin. And I feel like he could knock him out.
Yeah.
I don't think that Anthony
seen
Joshua
Joshua
has
get
the
hit
chin
before.
that Tyson Fury has.
Yeah. We've seen Joshua get dropped. We've seen Joshua get knocked out. So
Right. And we saw one thing we knew about Fury was that he had an iron chin. He'll go down, but that motherfucker will get back up from death's touch.
yeah.
So we kind of knew if Francis did get him, it would be unlikely to put him to sleep.
The only thing I'd say that could be the difference in this fight for Anthony Joshua is that he, like, Fury is a box your head off kind of boxer, but I feel like AJ is more like kind of like I've seen in his best performances is kind of a little bit more calculated, and he's like real precise, whereas like Fury mauls you and makes you look stupid. You know what I mean? Just that difference in style, because like I think a big thing that was the reason Ngannou had such a close fight with Fury is he refused to let Fury physically like intimidate him in the clinch and up on the ropes and stuff like that. Where I just don't think Joshua is going to do that at all. Like I don't see Joshua pushing Ngannou back and trying to tie up with him. I see him more as trying to sit back and try to knock him out. So I don't know. I think this is just another case of, Francis fighting someone that is just sounds so interesting for him to fight. You know what I mean? Like Fury everyone had said Fury and Ngannou was like, holy shit, like that just sounds interesting. Like I feel like this is just the next level for that.
I mean, I feel what you're saying. I like Ngannou's chances better in this one after seeing what he did against Fury, because no one was really expecting, at least that I knew of, expecting Fury to knock Ngannou out, but we all expected him to box him the fuck up.
Yeah.
And make him look kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have been shocked if Fury got out there and he'd embarrassed him, but the dude went to 10 rounds and been like, well, you did it,
Yeah.
But instead, he didn't box him up at all. The one who got boxed up actually was Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
And it wasn't some lucky shit. Like, Ngannou looked really good.
Yeah.
Like, remember how fucking fast he was, bro? Like, he was sandbagging us in those workout videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was lightning quick and his form was on point. That jab was just popping. His jab was popping. He was counter punching a fucking way bigger dude who had reach on him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come in there. They're going to game plan that shit smart as fuck. And I think he's got a solid chance of winning this fight, dude. And it'll be the greatest sports story ever told.
I could rock with that, but I don't know. I want to believe your story. I just think Joshua's probably going to win.
It's the logical choice once again, but I'm going with the emotions here. My whole thing with the UFC picks in this, and I'm just going on pure emotion.
Well, it'll be very exciting to the level of when he almost beat Fury too. Like if he beats Joshua, it's gonna be wild. And I like a good crazy upset like that. But
bro, it'll set up the craziest showdown for all four belts in the history of boxing ever. That'll be the biggest fight ever.
PFL belt too.
And it'll be the craziest story. That's even bigger than the Rocky movies. Like that's Rocky times 10, bro. That's
so
crazy
here's my
shit.
question to you though. So kind of going back a couple weeks ago, now we already know who Francis is fighting in the PFL next as well. So does that fight with the unification boxing match, does that happen before the PFL fight happens?
There's one group of people that you would think would be Team Francis, but they're desperately hoping that he loses. And that is the PFL. Because if Francis Ngannou beats Anthony Joshua, that motherfucker ain't never going back to MMA, bro. He might go back to MMA in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He is set up to make millions in boxing with a victory.
Oh yeah.
Like millions, bro. Like,
But the timeline still fits though. The
yeah,
timeline
but
still fits
there's
because
no
now
way
with
he'll do it
Joshua and
though.
Usyk, or not Joshua and Usyk, Fury and Usyk being at, I think it's mid-May or something like that. If he comes out and knocks Joshua out, and then he goes in, knocks
Yeah, then
Homie
breaks
out in
his
the
hand against
PFL.
big dude in there or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know
Fucks
though.
up his knee. Does some fucked up shit happens and he
Yeah,
loses his boxing paydays for some $2 million PFL payday. No shade on
I
them.
thought it's 10.
Whatever, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it ain't gonna be what he would get with a win. Like, he's getting big bags right now. He got a big bag against Tyson. He's getting an even bigger bag here. If he wins, sky is the limit.
Yeah,
He's guaranteed a massive payday against Fury in a rematch. And then even if he loses there, he's guaranteed one more.
yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Mhm.
That won't be the end of it. He'll have one more massive boxing payday. And if he were to win, I mean, no, that's crazy, but he'll never fight in MMA again if he were to fucking win all 4 heavyweight belts. We'll never, bye.
No. There'd be no
Like,
reason to.
why the fuck would you, bro? That'd be
Yeah.
like, you already are the reigning
Just
UFC
focus
champ or
on
the
boxing.
lineal UFC
Yeah.
champion. Like, as much as I enjoyed that PFL versus Bellator event, and I'm on board with this whole thing, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking might even like this more than UFC. Frankly, for the most part, like,
Yeah,
dude, come on. You
it's
don't.
tough. It's a tough sell to go back to any kind of MMA after
Way tough.
winning fucking four belts, dude. That'd be
So no,
nuts.
the boys over at the PFL are on team Anthony Joshua privately. They're on team Ngannou publicly.
But also, I don't know.
Because yeah, with a loss, he's going right back to MMA, bro.
Yeah,
He's
of
gonna go
course.
beat that dude. He's gonna go fight that big dude. And
But
it'll be big and it'll be fun. And boxing will have been this cool side hustle he made a bag off of and impressed us all with.
yeah, that's true. I just feel like at the end of the day, he set himself up for his future, whether it goes either way. So like it really, like he's playing with house money either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Absolutely.
I feel like that's what happens when you get it like in a performance like he did against Fury. It's like you go out there and get your head boxed off. It is what it is. But if you go out there and you do it, you fucking accomplish the impossible. You're forever etched in stone in like history. Where so like in that just dare to be great, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that kind of shit. That's kind of the same shit that Volk was trying to do, and as long as it's done right, like and you give yourself the best shot possible, you can end up, fucking doing some crazy shit. And I think that's what happened in the Fury fight too. Like everybody counted him out, so he was just like, "Fuck it, dude. I'm just
Well,
gonna
because we've
go."
heard these MMA
run it.
fighters say they can box before, and I don't give a fuck what any commentator says, what any ex-fighter says on any of these shows. What you see these guys do in the UFC does not mean they can go into a boxing ring and have any type of fucking success. Nate Diaz is a great puncher in MMA. He looked like shit against Jake Paul. Sorry, it was
Yeah.
terrible. He looked like a fucking joke, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Tyrone Woodley did all right when he chose to punch in MMA. It was terrible, terrible in fucking boxing.
For real.
Like, it doesn't translate. Francis clearly can box. He wasn't joking when he was like, "No, I've been trying to box this whole time." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Connor could actually box a little bit. It's like, okay, you actually do. You can box a little here.
Pettis was pretty solid too.
Pettis, yeah, I mean, he beat fucking Roy Jones. Pettis came out and showed he could box a bit too. It's not everybody, but a lot of them, it just don't translate.
Well, that's
man.
the thing though too is if you look at all these guys though, that the striking side of things has always been their background. Like Francis, although he went straight into MMA, he said like all he really wanted to do was train boxing. Like,
Yeah,
you
which
know what I mean?
meant is it
And
when
that's
he
kinda
was
how his
training on his own and doing whatever
Yeah.
he was doing, it was for boxing shit. He wasn't sprawling and learning fucking wrestling. He
Well,
was
and that's the
fucking
thing.
boxing.
Like his wrestling is a very new skill of his arsenal. It
Right,
was like
exactly.
not until Stipe embarrassed him did he learn how to wrestle. Like he was just knocking motherfuckers dead, and that's the ultimate equalizer in this fight too. Is
Yeah, he's
Francis'
got them hands
ability
of
to
death like
fucking
Deontay.
knock. But AJ does hit hard too, though. AJ's got some pop in his.
Yeah,
in
what's he
his-
got? Like 20 out of 22 victories or by knockout?
Something like that.
21 to 23, something like that.
Yeah,
I
but
can't quite remember.
so Francis got to be careful with that too because I do think in that Fury fight also we didn't really see Fury ever pop him, and I'd be very curious to see what it looks like if he got rocked by either Fury or Joshua and how he would how he would handle that.
Well, I'm sticking with it. I'm picking fucking Ngannou with a KO.
I love Ngannou, but I'm taking Joshua.
We'll see.
I'm taking what my brain
It's
is
gonna be a
saying.
fun
My
fucking
heart
show
wants
next week if he
Ngannou,
wins.
but
I
my
know.
brain is like, bro, come on, what are we doing
I
here?
feel you. I feel you.
Well, I think that about wraps our show up for today.
Yep. Looking forward to next week, seeing how this all turns out. It's gonna be an exciting time. Good weekend in sports here.
Hell yeah.
All right, catch you all next week, everybody.
Peace.
Later.